Hi, I'm Lee Leachman from Leachman Cattle of Colorado in Fort Collins, Colorado, and we're here today to talk about how you can make your cattle operation more profitable. As we know, we're in challenging times in the beef industry, and most of you are trying to make breeding decisions. Which bulls are you going to invest in this spring? Bulls are still very expensive, and the reality is that buying the right bull will have a huge impact on your herd for the next 10 years. And in contrast, if you buy the wrong bull, that's going to disadvantage your herd because you're going to have those daughters in your herd and those calves to sell for a decade to come. The reality is most bull providers give you a lot of information on those bulls. We open up these bull catalogs and there are just EPDs everywhere and all these numbers. And let's face it, they're hard to understand. They're even harder to balance. We get all these different bulls, different sales, different breeds. How do you make the decision as to which bull is right for you? We think that's a major challenge in the industry today, and it leads to a lot of mistakes being made. In our own breeding program, we go out and buy bulls from a lot of different operations to bring into our breeding program. And what we're really after is we're looking for the bull that's going to move us the farthest, the fastest way possible. We want to improve our herd as quickly as we can. And really the trait that we're most concerned with is profitability. At the end of the day, profitability is what we really want. All the other traits contribute to profitability, and so we want them. But it's really hard for us to judge, well, now if this bull's a little higher on growth and this bull's a little better on carcass and maybe this third bull's more of a maternal bull, which of those bulls is going to leave us the most profitability in our herd? So a long time ago, about 10 years ago now, or over 10 years ago now, we developed a model called dollar profit. And what dollar profit does is it's a simulation model that looks at all these different traits in your herd, all the reproduction traits, calving, growth, carcass information, maternal traits, even how much do the cows eat and what's the feed efficiency in the feedlot. And it takes all that information and boils it down and says, this bull that you buy is probably going to have about 100 calves in your herd. The question is, how valuable are those 100 calves compared to 100 calves out of this other bull that you might want to buy? And that dollar profit number, that one number, gives us that figure. If one bull's 10,000 and the other bull's 8,000, what that says is the bull who scores 10,000 is going to produce $2,000 more profit over those 100 calves, or about $20 a calf, than the bull that's 8,000. And so that tells you how much better he is and boils everything down into one number. And what we found is we'd go out and we'd look at all this information, all these EPDs, and understand we live, eat, drink, and sleep these numbers, and still we'd go buy a bull and then we'd run him through the model and he'd surprise us by being higher than we thought or lower than we thought. Because the reality is none of us can do all that math in our heads. So we started using dollar profit in our herds in 2004 because we wanted one number that predicted profitability. We realized that not everyone owns the calves all the way from birth through to harvest and retains ownership. So in addition to our dollar profit number that predicts birth to harvest, we also calculate a dollar ranch number. And what dollar ranch looks at is just those traits that drive the profitability on your herd, on your ranch, and your cow-calf operation, realizing that you're going to sell those calves at weaning. The exciting thing about using these indexes is it really keeps us disciplined. In other words, we don't use bulls that take us backwards. We only use the ones that move us forward as quickly as possible. And since we started using the dollar profit index, we've seen just tremendous improvement in our herd and in the herds of our customers. So much so that this year we're offering 500 bulls in our upcoming sale in March. Those 500 bulls, on average, rank in the top 10% of the entire industry on dollar profit. We know that because we take the EPDs from all these other breeds and all these other breeders and put them into the model to see where average is. And we know that the average bull in the industry ranks somewhere around $8,000 on dollar profit. The lowest bull we have in our upcoming sale is $10,000. So what that number's telling you is the lowest bull in our sale will sire progeny that are worth $20 more per head. Our average bull scores a $13,000, that's $50 more per head. So just think about that. If you have industry average cattle and you breed them to our average bull, you're actually going to make a calf that's worth $50 more. Now, I know most of you in the cattle business have heard all these promises from seed stock breeders for a long time. We're famous for talking about these numbers or what it's going to do for your herd and promise this, that, and the other. But the beautiful thing about dollar profit is we've gone out into commercial herds across the country and we've tested this information. And you'll see in our catalogs there's a lot of testimonial information, because really, why listen to us when our customers can tell you how this is working out in their herd? One of the testimonials that we're particularly excited about comes from Rich Roth at the IX Ranch in Big Sandy, Montana. They run several thousand cows. They've been breeding to our bulls since 2007. And when they first came to us, they said, listen, we want to have more pounds weaned per cow exposed. That really drives the cost of our production down and drives up ranch profitability. And so we said to them, well, you need to crossbreed. And the best way to crossbreed is to use a hybrid or composite bull, and we raise stabilizer composites. We'll come back to that in a minute. But our stabilizer composite will bring in hybrid vigor, and you can select using this dollar ranch, and that will increase your pounds weaned per cow exposed. So now they've been doing that, and over half their herd is sired by our bulls today, and their pounds weaned per cow exposed is up 12%. On their size herd, that amounts to several $100,000 more output out of the same number of cows than what they were receiving 8 or 9 years ago. This is just a huge increase that comes from using these high dollar profit bulls. But the other side of it is you have to sell your calves to someone. I'm in the bull business. I sell my bulls to cow-calf producers. If my bull is not going to be an advantage for you as a cow-calf producer, you're going to want to buy my bull at a discount, not a premium. And yet most of our customers in the cow-calf business, they want to sell their calves at a premium. So what are the traits that make calves worth a premium? What do feeders want that are going to buy these calves? What really comes down to 4 things. Feed conversion, how valuable that carcass is in terms of a marbling, percentages, upper 2/3 choice, and percent prime, how big that carcass gets, and how healthy those animals are. And really, we can measure all those traits except for health. For health, you're going to have a good vaccination program and do the best you can do. But on those other traits, on feed conversion, on carcass weight, and on carcass merit, we have EPDs that characterize those traits. And so what dollar profit does is it finds the bulls that produce the most valuable calves. And then, of course, we want you to get paid for those calves. You can retain ownership in those calves and take advantage of those premiums, or you can find buyers who recognize that value. Sweetwater Ranch, based in Hays, Kansas, AI'd to many of our stabilizer bulls this last year. They produced a set of calves. Those calves went through and earned an $8 per hundredweight premium over the market. They converted 5.3 to 1. They reached a 932-pound carcass weight. They just hit it out of the park. Those kind of calves are worth 10 to 20 cents over the average calf in the marketplace. Now, you might be skeptical and say, yeah, but could we really get a feedlot to come forward and pay that? And that's where working with Leachman cattle really comes to your advantage, because we'll help you market those calves. Very simply, we'll go through and score your calves using the Reputation Cattle Feeder program. Then we will bring buyers to bid on your calves based on that score. This last year, a customer of ours, the Seaman Ranch, sold their calves for 17 cents over market. That's the second year in a row they've earned that kind of a premium. This is a big advantage to them in terms of profitability and really the sustainability and viability of their ranching operation. You should try to earn premiums on your calves, and one of the ways to do that is to use our dollar profit number to select bulls that both build great cows and also build valuable market steers. In our family, we've been crossbreeding beef cattle since the early 1970s. We have a rich family tradition of being involved in the Angus business that goes clear back into the 1930s and 40s. My grandfather, my father, my uncle, all were really involved in the Angus business, and we love Angus cattle. But we realized that by crossbreeding, we can have an increase in pounds weaned per cow exposed. Plus, we get to combine the complementarity of multiple breeds. Early on, we crossed Angus with Simmental, and that's a terrific cross, and we love that cross. But we realized, based on some data from Clay Center, Nebraska, that if we built a composite with more than 2 breeds, then you could actually simplify your breeding program and basically straight breed, where you take a composite bull, breed it to a composite female, and still keep over 75% of the initial hybrid vigor. And that's really the simple program that our stabilizers offer. They offer you the uniformity of the Angus, the simplicity of a straight breeding program, but they still give you that hybrid vigor. In addition to that, we've gone out and picked these all-star bulls from a variety of different breeds and put them in. Today, our stabilizer is primarily composed of Angus and Red Angus, Gelbvieh and Simmental, and South Devon genetics. And that combination, that's roughly 5/8 British and 3/8 Continental, optimizes the cow herd. Those cows are going to flesh as easily as a Hereford Angus cross, and yet those steers, when they go into the feedlot, they're going to reach higher market weights than would your Angus steers, and they're going to do it with lots of marbling. Again, that's part of the selection of the breeds that we put in the stabilizer, and then of course we've been applying this dollar profit selection to that gene pool. One of the things that's really important in our business is to have good data. And we have a very large database now. Our dollar profit database, composed of our cattle and other select seed stock herds from around the country, is now up to almost 1 million animals. And in that database, we compare all of these seed stock for all the different traits. It's not the largest database in the country, but it very well could be the best database, because all the data that's in there comes from top-tier seed stock producers that are really concerned with making sure that contemporary groups are done well, that we measure all the traits. One of the traits that a lot of people don't measure is feed intake. And obviously in your ranching operation, output is important, but input cost is increasingly important. We all know that the cost of feed and the cost of grass has gone up tremendously, and yet most people are still selecting seed stock that eat more and more feed. That's where these great big yearling EPDs come from. They typically come from animals that eat a lot of feed, and of course then they produce daughters that go into your herd, and then those cows get big and they eat a lot of feed. And so several years ago, we started measuring feed efficiency in our animals. And what we're doing is we're putting a bull in a pen, we're measuring how much feed they eat per day. And then that turns out that's really heritable. When we measure that trait, we might find 2 bulls in the same pen. As an example, one bull might be eating 17 pounds of feed a day and the other bull eating 42 pounds a day, and they weigh the same. So there's this huge difference in input cost. That translates into profitability. You'd much rather have the daughters out of that low feed intake, high output bull than you would out of that high feed intake bull, because those daughters are just going to eat too much feed. They're going to cost you more. They're going to eat more grass. They're going to reduce your stocking rate. They're going to increase the cost of purchased feeds. All these things hurt your profitability. And then when the calves out of those bulls get in the feedlot, those low intake efficient bulls produce calves that have much better feed conversion in the feedlot. In our upcoming sale, we're going to offer 498 stabilizer bulls. They're the top cut of our spring-born 2016 calf crop. A lot of people think that these bulls are going to be too expensive, especially given calf prices today. But in last year's sale, 50% of our bulls sold between $3,000 and $5,000. In addition to the bulls, we're offering 150 heifers. This is a chance to really upgrade your cow herd if you're in the seed stock business. There's some registered Angus, registered Red Angus, and also about 20 Charolais heifers in the sale, in addition to a really nice lineup of stabilizer heifers. Just like the bulls, these heifers are really high on dollar profit. If you want to get into our system and become a cooperator and raise bulls with us, give us a call and we can talk about investing in these heifers together. In this day and age with video and internet, a lot of you are tempted to stay at home and purchase bulls that way, and we encourage you to. The sale will obviously be broadcast on Superior Livestock. You can call us and place a sight unseen order and we'll bid for you. But what we'd really like is for you to come out and take a look at the cattle for yourself. We've got a great event planned. We're going to start out on Saturday night, the 18th, with an event at the Budweiser Center. Just a very small gathering where you can spend time visiting with us, talking about the offering. Then on Sunday, we've got a great seminar planned. We start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll go for about 3 hours, educational program, talking about stabilizers, talking about crossbreeding, about marketing your calves, about what you can do to make your operation more profitable from a management standpoint. Sunday night is our banquet. There should be about 400 people in attendance. We're going to serve a great prime rib dinner and have some wonderful Western entertainment. And then the sale will kick off at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. All this will be in Fort Collins, Colorado. Our hotel center will be the Embassy Suites, which is a great place to bring your family and stay. They got a great swimming pool for the kids. We just invite you to come out and join us, even if you're not in the market for a bull or female. We'd love to have you join us and see the operation. And so we invite you to come on out.